Bendu, good morning.
Hello.
Boy, trying to get the lighting correct in here. I'm going to be, wow. I don't need any more help being whiter than I am.
Hello, Lee.
Hey, Shivang. I've been, boy, it seems I've
Finally
been
doing good.
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, I'm still it's about to take my first sip of coffee here. So, yeah. I'm curious. Can you guys hear that?
Yeah, Rooster.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. He says good morning. Wow. Oh boy. Let me. Oh. We will go ahead and bump out the Firefly's note taker, I suppose. Oh, okay. All right. Just yeah. Sorry. Geez, can you guys even see me at this point? Like, am I totally washed out?
Could see the silhouette, but definitely not the face.
Wow. That's funny. All right. All right. Well, maybe if I turn on a light, that might help. It's too early for lights. Too early for lights. You know what the thing is it's not too early for lights. It's too late. Last night to be this early, I guess is the. Were we talking about cadence workflow on this call? That's very interesting. I'm glad that we're talking about it. Oh, yeah. Well, we're going to have some new projects coming up, by the way. Okay, good. All right. Let's get organized in here, and then let's get started. So first thing I'll do is copy the meeting minutes over to the chat. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Bendu. All right. Hey, it's 4 after. Let's get started. So it's February 8th today, 2021. This is the Layer5 websites call. There will be a number of people out today. Some of the contributors who've been dedicated to Layer5 NG. Many of them, well, there's a number of them that attend the same university, but they have exams going on right now. And so some of them won't be here today. Or I guess for better or worse, I'm hoping today might be the day. It might be the day for going live. There would be a few things we would have to probably take off the site or just hide for a little bit. But we desperately need to rip the Band-Aid off and go live. So Good. Okay. So a few topics to go over. So one is that we've got Yash and Vijay with us as well. Vijay, is that Vijay Mr. Cherukuri, or is that another Vijay?
This is me, Vijay Cherukuri.
Yeah, good. All right. I dare say my it's a popular name, but could it probably goes without saying my favorite VJ. So um, boy, even in the time that you and I were getting to hang out quite a bit, there were other VJs around. VJ Dogla is one. He was at Cisco, right on a different teams. Yeah, anyway. All right, so Yash is here, VJ's here, Augustine's with us, VJ's with us. Good. Okay. So gents, I suspect we'll have one or two other people join, particularly some others from Africa, I expect. I expect that in part because we're about to go off and participate in a couple of internship programs there, or at least one, She Code Africa. And the focus of those internships or that program for us will probably be work around websites. And that's the technology that many of the people in that area are studying. So therein lie kind of two opportunities as we look at She Code Africa. Shecodes.io. Well, is it shecodes.io? Anyway, it doesn't matter what it is. Point is, there's a couple opportunities. One is that there will be other folks coming to help on various issues. The better described that those issues are, the easier it is for people to help. So it takes a little upfront diligence, but the more clear the languages and the issues, the more readily and more quickly you'll find that those issues get picked up. It's been quite some long time in a very pleasant way that it's been quite some long time since I've put out an issue, tagged it with help wanted, and have not had it picked up, sometimes randomly and sometimes by people who are already in the community. And it's pretty neat. They don't get picked up though if they're not well written. So I'm saying this to all of you because each of you have and are capable of identifying things to fix, new things to add, bugs to correct. And so each of you have the permission to. And Yash, if you don't at the moment, then it's time we fix that. But each of you have the ability to, no, Yash, you do have the ability to do this. It just may be that it's time to give you a little more permission in the system. Yash, are you part of the Layer5 GitHub org just yet? Yash, I'll keep my chat open in case you'll answer there. Point is, each of you are capable of opening up issues. So that's good. One, don't hand off your junk work, so to speak. I mean, there's a bunch of big things for intelligent people in Nigeria and in the rest of Africa to pick up as well. That's nice because we've got a lot of things to do. There's a number of projects in the backlog that are actually super exciting that I have yet to describe to some of you. Maybe I'll give you a quick sneak peek very briefly. That is this D&D kit, drag and drop kit. There needs to be some items that we have that are being dragged and dropped around, most notably within the mesh map. And so Soham was doing a test, not with this draggable kit, but with mesh map itself and the ability to let people design service mesh topology. And so anyway, that's one. There's another one to create learn.layer5.io, basically a whole subdomain. Another one is to do a multi-form stepper in React. Multi-form stepper. I was just talking with Bart Kalansky last night, or we were chatting rather, and if you're not familiar with it, actually Vijay is probably familiar with this concept from some of our work together. A lot of times, I don't have a good example here. Oh, here we go. Like, yeah, here's a multi-step form. This isn't, you enter in something, you go to step 2, you enter in something, you go to step 3. We had created a configuration wizard in one of the products that Vijay and I had worked on. And well, we're in need of that again in Meshery. And that is that, hey, if you want Meshery to work well or control your infrastructure, you need to connect it to your infrastructure. And Meshery does a lot of automated discovery of your infrastructure today, but it can't always connect either based on wrong credentials or a bad network connection, not a bad, but an unconnected network, or a variety of things, or maybe it has connected to Prometheus or Grafana or Kubernetes or Jaeger or whatever else we're having it connect to, existing service meshes, that it may be enough to have it, or it may be something to have it connected, but then you'd like to configure that connection even further so that maybe you're not telling Meshery to concern itself with everything in Kubernetes, maybe just certain things. Or anyway, there's a multi-form stepper. There's a lot of other projects coming up after Layer5 NG. Layer5 NG, though, is what we'll probably talk much about today. And it's what many of you have been working on. So let's go through that. And Yash, I saw your note about your mic. All right. Shubham, did you want to start us off with showing off some of the recent work that you've done?
Yeah, so I'll just share my screen. Just a minute. Is my screen visible?
There it is.
Okay. So this is like a banner, and now I realize I left a code snippet over here. I'll fix that. So this is the banner part, and I justified the content accordingly, as I felt like the left and the right indent was not looking very pretty over here. And the thing that I was saying for the size of the images is that, as you see, this particular segment of, let's say, University of Texas and Austin is sort of a bigger thing than the image itself. And according to the design spec, all the dimensions of the images that are mentioned over there were 256 cross 256, which I felt would look even better because that would like create a little bit more space between these cards. So I justified the text, and then there's this alternating thing that's happening in all the organizations over here. I removed that contact us form, having become a partner over here, and bolded this part a little bit more and like left some gaps so that it looks as if this is a clear segment instead of being one continuous segment. So our academic partners and our technology partners. I did try to do with the learn more, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that. So I omitted that part completely. If we are to go live, we can go with this and then evidently take the learn more part after it.
Nice, good call about doing an iterative delivery, because yeah, we can this can be used and go forth. There's one item, I guess I didn't realize. I've been trying to do a little cleanup on each of the pages or refactoring some things. And I didn't realize I was like stepping in the same area that you are. Some of the changes that I've made are reflected here, which is great. And one of them ended up taking the become a partner button and putting it toward the top right-hand side. And so what I didn't notice yet, but yeah, I guess when we go look at your PR, there might be a merge conflict.
No, I actually, this is running on the latest one, which I think all of the changes have been made. So I reset everything. So it must be
nice. Yeah.
So it's like join the community over here, and like for partner. I rebased it this morning, so.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I don't see any conflicts. Okay, then I might have my changes lost in some other branch somewhere. It's been a lot of branches very fast. But does anybody have comment for Shubham here? Oh, actually, there's one thing I just noted. I mean, like, it looks great. This is a lot better. But of the alternating rows, did you do kind of a modulus thing, such that it doesn't matter how many partners you add, it'll just automatically divide, modulate by 2 or what have you?
So by modulate by 2, so that means like it alternates on its own, right? That's
right.
What you're asking. No, actually, I saw the code of the existing partners over here, and like every card that is over here is made up of a row, and then there are these 2 columns. So I wasn't very sure how do we go ahead with like having a code snippet for this. So what I did was I just manually flipped all over them. So like one of the columns is on the left, then the other is on the right. Do you want me to like have it?
It'll be helpful. It's easier to sustain code because we will be adding more partners. Another university partner coming forth as well.
Okay, so I'll definitely do that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the original implementation or the current implementation on Layer5.io today, it has the Modulus operator to do this, and I guess whoever did the original transcription or migration maybe didn't take that long. The original one's actually probably a little confusing because it was so dynamically done. But yeah, we put a small data file.
Okay, so I'll do that. I'll just try to search in the entire project where that modulus is being implemented, and then I'll try to replicate it over in this pull request.
Nice. Good deal. When you do look for it, you'll look for that under master.
Under master, okay.
Yeah, which is the current site, like the Jekyll based site.
Okay, I'll do that.
Nice. Hey, there's only one other thing for me, and that is I think the aspect ratio on the SMI logo back on the partnership page, it looked like it was a bit horizontally squished. And I know you called out in your PR kind of request for 250 by 250. The thing is like something like the UT Austin emblem, like one of the first logos there. It's sort of circular, and it's probably square unto its own, which means that, and it's an SVG, which means that like we should
no,
just
actually,
be setting.
the issue is that it's PNG, it's not SVG. That's the issue.
Okay, so maybe again, whoever did that original transcription didn't. So for sure, I've edited that SVG I don't know how many times, and so for sure like that one as an SVG, and Most of them should be as well. I know Austin is still getting used to, like, after having produced the design, like giving out the assets. The assets really, like, other than CSS, the rest of the assets really shouldn't be exported from Figma. That will give them to you often in the wrong format. Sometimes it will mess up an SVG format as well. And so, yeah. By the way, if you go look in the community drive under the websites folder, there's actually the vast majority of the
Go
logos
live.
that we
Probably
use.
we can do this after the live or like whatever suits.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that you were speaking.
Yeah, so I said, like, if we want to go ahead with the live, going live, where we can go that, and again, all these 2-3 small changes could definitely be after we go live, or if not, then we can like have it in this PR itself.
You're right. We can go live without them. We do need to note them somewhere so that they are either followed up in this PR or in a subsequent one. Let's see. Do you mind, Shubham, do you mind taking just some quick notes about this here? So the aspect ratio, and actually others on the call, if you guys can help as well, aspect ratio. Otherwise, you'll just have to watch me type. So we want to only set either the width or the height of the logos so that they fill in the rest of the. Okay, what else? What was the other feedback? And then have a subsequent PR for the expander. Nice. Okay. Anything else for Shubham? All right. Well, Nikhil, I'm going to call you out if I can. Items since last time we met.
Oh, yeah, Ali. So actually, I guess almost all of them are complete. Like whichever are mentioned in the last topics, last meeting minutes topic. The only thing is left is updating the data, which I guess is waiting on you. Like I
Yeah.
see the Meshly page, the install page is missing the data, and as well as the get started also. Yeah, see of the and otherwise, I think we are getting almost like up to the mark for the homepage. Only one section is left, which also I guess Chinmay has opened a PR. So reviewing is left for that. I'll be reviewing it by today itself, like the partners as well as the sections. So if we can get it merged by today, then I think only the data part will be left, and we are good to go.
Nice. Yeah. In the I didn't realize I'm not sharing. In the so special, in the Chinmay's PR for what makes Layer5 so special, it'll actually, it won't suffice for going live because it just repeats like the same content a couple of times. So it can be updated to have a couple more pieces of, essentially pieces of news. The ask there is to make it dynamic, which is to like use a collection and iterate over a collection. So that collection would be news. Nice.
Okay.
On
Other than that, I think few of the areas we have search bar implemented, but we don't provide the search feature yet. So I guess we need to comment out that so that when the search is implemented, at
Yeah.
that time we can uncomment it.
Is Lunar.js that hard?
I'm not
And
sure. There was some discussion using Elasticsearch or Lunar.js.
Lunar.js for sure, like no question. That's a horrible comparison. I mean,
I'm not sure because Tanuj was tracking on that, and Shubhank also gave an update on that about shared some link with the Gatsby plugin, as well as Chinmay was opting to work on it. Not sure what's the progress because we are missing Tanuj and Josh on today's call.
Okay, got it. One other area is the proud maintainers area, or this one here is almost releasable or almost there. It doesn't, it really diverged from the design, which is that it doesn't have backgrounds on the cards or on these sections. Actually, I think they've been taken out as sections. It's just a list of images now, and they just kind of wrap. When actually it should just be 2 lines and they should fall off the page. The point of it is to indicate that we're working on a lot of open source projects. It's not to be complete. It's to just let them know we spend a lot of time helping other projects as well and doing open source. So
Okay. Actually, the background was there, but due to the responsiveness issue, I updated it and I missed out that part. So I guess that's the reason we can't see the background anymore. I'll see if I can update the background of the images to look like a card and also to keep them in 2 lines and split out of the screen, like cut out.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Here's kind of here's a screenshot of what it sort of looked like. It doesn't necessarily have to entirely totally look, the background itself look like that, but there's a couple of neat elements about this. One is that, yeah, hey, they get cut off and that's fine. Like that's the point, is just there's too many to show. The other thing is that it bleeds into the next section, which is nice. It's desired that there's some amount of continuity, continuous, that we don't have horizontal segments between the sections each time. So this is nice. And yeah, I know Vineeth and so Yash originally implemented this, I think. And then, not the Yash that's on the phone, I don't think.
Yeah, not the Yash Pandey, but Yash Vardhan. Yeah, he implemented it initially, but the responsiveness was there.
Nice. And then Vineeth had followed up to help style, and actually you'd followed up in the time Vineeth and I had spoken. It was sort of to help them understand those last couple of points of like, it isn't about showing them all. It's about just.
Okay.
It's a little bit, and that's kind of the same thing that's going on with the partners as well. Up here, or the contributors, is that. Well, right now, okay, that's weird. So right now you see how like Red Hat gets chopped off, Rackspace gets chopped off, and it's okay. Like the point was, this needs tweaked some because this one's ginormous compared to the rest.
Right. Yeah.
And they should scale a bit bigger than they are. I'm not sure if my page didn't fully. So yeah, anyway, it's still we can go live like with that, or like there's tons and tons and tons of things to overlook and just go live with. I mean, one thing is with these buttons need to change. Like I think these should be the buttons that they actually don't go together very well in terms of what we're asking people to do. Ultimately, we'll have probably a call to action up in the upper right-hand corner. There's all kinds of interesting items to finish up. But to Shubham's point, yeah, a lot of them can be set aside to, some of the pages can even be not displayed. Right now, this particular one concerns me a little before going live because it's not really clear that these need to be brought together maybe a little more closely to make it clear that that's a section. This one kind of, we do want some continual flow between sections, so it can be good that one juts into the next, but for the lack of background on them, maybe it looks a little weird. And this section, we might want to take and move this down below or in the middle or something like, I don't know, I guess we'll see when the backgrounds come on if this makes sense to have rather than. So anyway, it's been I know I've pushed a number of changes here. I think I've been pushing them to the wrong branch. What's the current state of, are we building and pushing to Netlify?
For the preview ones, I guess yes, we are, but still we are seeing failures on the PR. That's the reason I wanted to have, like, if Tanuj would have there on the call, we could have discussed that. But
Okay.
so I think as per the latest conversation on Slack, he said that on adding that particular option, pull request label, that issue would be avoided. But I guess we are still seeing that, so not sure.
Huh. Okay. There's, the thing about GitHub Actions is that there's a lot of, it's not entirely open-ended, but almost. You can do all kinds of things. We can take and build the site in a different repo. Every time there's a PR, every time there's a push, we can push it to this repo. We can, like, we don't really need Netlify if it's going to get in the way, because we can get that same preview deployment done in other ways. Anyway, yeah, something to explore. Maybe this week is the CI meeting. Might be a good thing to talk in there about.
I think for every pull request preview that we can generate, what we can do is that one, we have the default github.io thing attached to one of the repositories. We can we can utilize that URL, and the main one which I suggested for that for in my PR could just like push only on when it's like committing on the layer 5 ng thing. So I think we can replicate Netlify thing with GitHub itself, but the only issue, the only potential issue that I see over there is that for every pull request, there is this one preview generated. And what Netlify does is that it takes up any random URL, attach it with some random number. It basically generates a temporary URL sort of thing. So if we could like make an in-house tool for it, I think we could possibly work on it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that is, it might require a slight bit of change to how it is that the site URL is referred to, but it's entirely achievable, because what you can do is, just like you said, you'll build the site, you'll grab a random number like the PR number. To grab the PR number, you'll take the site that you've built, drop it into a folder with that PR number, and then you'd visit the github.io URL
/ and then thing.
I think the only drawback on this is, or the only caveat to be aware of and then to fix, is that you wouldn't want to, we would probably want to have a separate repo for publishing over to. Like, people would still follow the same contribution flow that they do today, And actually it'll be improved because they won't have to use the layer 5 and G branch. They'll just be using master. So it'll be less confusing. But yeah, when a PR is submitted and the site is built and those static files are sitting right there, they could just be pushed to a preview deploy repo that does exactly what we just said. And then when the PR, when the PR is merged, another action kicks off to go delete that folder and
can do that. Yep, that can be done.
And it doesn't, yeah, really, like, really, it didn't seem, yeah, anyway.
Even what we can do is like, if we have that URL with us, that is like layer5 io dot, the main URL that we use for the website. What we could do is we could create a subdomain out of it. Let's say deploy, temporary dot something like that, and then slash trailing would be just the commit number, and like that can be done.
Yeah, that way you could have, yeah, right, totally, because you might have multiple commits on the same PR. I mean, you could still use the PR number because you would just push the latest commits build, but yeah, any which way you do it would work.
I think we can discuss this in that CI meeting.
All right, Nikhil, I'm putting proud maintainers under your name. Yash, did we want to look at one of your open PRs?
I may not have any open PR right now, I guess.
Oh, okay. Yeah, why am I getting confused? Oh, okay. And Yash, remind me of your GitHub handle. Is it the EP?
Emperor YP7.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, did yours recently merge then? I suppose.
Yeah. Recently merged in. It was about that select component.
Oh, okay.
The members page.
Nice. And then I'm still confused as to whether or not we would expect to see it here. And oh yeah, there it is. Oh, nice. Yeah. Wow. Wow. That's great. That I like. It's against my nature not to like, complain about something. So, because I want you to perpetually strive for greatness. And so I won't just complain about one thing, but two. This looks great, man. You did a great job. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, really. I wasn't even sure that kind of a thing was possible. Two pieces of feedback. Neither of the two of them, if you're busy on another section, like neither of the two of them are that important. One is you can see it with the highlight that I have now here, which would be, if you can on hover, do an inverse filter, either a swap of the actual SVG or the CSS color, because there's color and white.
I actually tried it out, but it was looking a bit odd, so I decided not to. So I should have communicated with you about it, but
Sure. Okay. So then maybe it's just not worth it because it just kind of looks weird. And again, it's not that big of a thing. You did invert the text color.
Yeah, the text. Yeah.
The other item is, and again, like this doesn't, I'm just like, when we get down to this level of nitpicking, you've done a good job, because this is all that we can find is like at the pixel level. So you might consider that the two status indicators are just slightly off center. They're like just slightly to the right. And so they might be able to pull them back to the left a little bit.
I just noticed it now.
Sure. It's funny when your face is in it all day, you don't see it. But actually, it looks spot on, you know, dead center after selection. So this is great. And since Vijay is on the phone and he's one of two mesh mates on the phone, I'm gonna have to embarrass him. We're gonna just sit and absorb the beauty of this design. I like how, and the beauty of Vijay's photo as well. Oh, he's got a Meshry badge. Yes, he does. Community badge. He's got the old Mesh Mate badge. Hey, the open question. This is more just for people to reflect on, think about. Is so we have the Mesh Mate badge down here, and in one respect, it's I think highly appropriate that there's you know, lined up with other profiles that this is Vijay's Mesh Mate profile. And this is the link to his page. It's /community/members, Vijay Cherukuri. That makes sense. If it were to be moved up here, that probably, I'm just kind of thinking out loud with all of you, because initially it struck me that, oh, maybe this should have been up here. And then thinking through it, probably not. Like, hey, this is a profile. That's a you know, Meshmate is a role and a hat that Vijay wears. The badges up here are they're intended to represent where it is that a given individual is or has contributed. So Meshry for Asuko. Augustine's been focused on. And so, by the way, Nikhil, this might be, I don't know, this might be one of the things that you might like to write down some of the rules around this. And that is that there's a landscape badge, which is intended to represent sort of work on the websites. Because the landscape as a project is, you know, is this here. The community badge, the little guys, the little green guys. Well, it's on Vijay's profile because that's a lot of his focus as, you know, as a meshmate, or as in part of that role. Also the Meshry badge, because he's got any number of commits and like any amount of, he's got slideshows and etc. on Meshry. But yeah, anyway, I don't know that it was super clear or that we've got well-written language about when it is that that it's appropriate, you know, how the badging system works. There's a little bit of unwritten rule about when someone migrates to active, or I'm sorry, to inactive or back to active. And to reactivate, I think it's fairly simple. If someone pops into a meeting, if they do a pull request, or if they make a comment, or, you know, like if you've heard from them recently, they should probably be reverted to active. If you've pinged them and then you ping them the next week and then the next week, and then a month goes by and then you ping them again and there's no answer after a week, like if it's been 3 months to 6 months, you know, their focus has shifted. And I hope that people aren't offended when they do return. Any number of people have returned back to have their card reactivated. Anyway, point is, there's a, I'm a bit embarrassed to sit here and look at mine. I'm only pulling it up because I know it has the majority of the badges here. There's one other badge that needs to come forth, and we don't have it yet because we don't have a logo just yet for Get Nighthawk. There will soon be a Get Nighthawk badge logo. Anyway, I'm digressing. I'm sorry. Let me pull us back. So Yash, good, you're done there. In terms of getting layer 5 NG across the line, there's a lot of content that needs to be done. A lot of that is unfortunately like backlogged on me. I think there's a couple of open issues that we might want to take a look at. So we can go live without the Get Nighthawk project page. We can go live without full details of the SMI conformance test. We should probably label these. And let me know if anyone disagrees with what I'm saying. This one we would mark as needed to go live, proudly maintaining. We can go live without, we can go live without. Bart had sent over a couple of examples of how he's created that, created this small bouncing animation. And so one of the things that he had done was you'd come over and you'd scroll over the contributor's journey, and each of these little bubbles would light up, all of them at the same time. Or the other way was you'd hover over here and just the newcomer's guide would light up. And for my part, I'd said that like, hey, just having the one light up is maybe better because it begins to intimate to the user that each of these you can interact with them individually. Like even better, it would be a timed animation that someone would hover here, this would light up, and they would sort of automatically transition between each of the other ones lighting up, and it would just take a couple of seconds.
I prefer the second one, the timed animation one.
Do you? Yeah, with each one sort of individually. Okay, that makes sense to me. Because if you light them all up at the same time, it feels a little cheap. It also, you can't necessarily, you can tell that it's interactive. There's something to click, but you don't really know that they're individually interactive. And so, okay, so this is yeah, go ahead. That's a post go live. So you wouldn't know it by looking at the issues. It looks like we really don't have many open issues that will prevent us from going live. That's not the case though. So when we look at the Meshery pages, that's one of the pages, Nikhil, that you were calling out as needing finishing up. There's something that concerns me a little bit, guys, that there's like 3 different Meshery pages, and that makes sense. It's a big project. There's a lot to describe, but the navigation to them, and this was intentional, this was by design. It's just seeing it now and going through it now. I don't know how successful, how many people there's lots and lots and lots of people will land on this page because it's prominently linked here. It's the entry point into looking at Meshery. This is the intro to it. These are things that it does. And this, so the big call out section, it's going to highlight the performance management capabilities, which is, in a lot of respects, like that's fine that it's going in depth on one feature area. It may indicate people may be left thinking that that's all that Meshery does is performance management is the potential issue. We do have this full feature switcher to step people through the rest of the, highlight some of the rest of the areas. So this is helpful. It might be that we would want to rearrange a little bit. I think in the design, this here is underneath the feature switcher. It's like a call to action at the bottom. It's, get started, and that takes you to the installation page for Meshery. it's a little more natural to have the call to action at the bottom. I think the nice thing about having it up here is that it describes the section below. And so it might be that we would take this section entirely, or this feature switcher, like, I don't know, having this feature switcher inside here. I'm talking aloud, not really requesting any changes be done. Just kind of thinking through this with you guys. It might be just taking this section, putting it up above, changing the wording up here a little bit to say, hey, we're not talking about all the features. We're just talking about performance management features and taking people through there. And at the end, calling them to go to the next page. So the issue with the way that our pages are laid out right now is that getting people to this page, I believe that the only link to it is from that get started button here. And so we need to proliferate some of those links to other pages.
There is one more.
Oh.
Just above that section, the install button.
Oh, I see. Okay. Here.
Yeah. I've linked those buttons accordingly. Like the manage button leads to the manager service mesh page. And
that's great. I didn't.
To the pattern book.
Nice. Okay. So this has been improved on. There's an item that I'm having a little bit of trouble with. Is that while we're able to put images here on the pattern section, I do have a couple of images linked, but they're not showing up. And I believe it's the same for performance. Like I have the S&P logo here, but it doesn't show up. And so let me take a note. Actually, Yash, I don't know if this is something maybe you want to take a look at, like the missing logos. Okay, so we've been slowly but surely migrating each of these icons to white. And when we're done, it's actually going to look maybe a little bland. Maybe we would change the color of the steps to just say there's 2 steps. I'm not sure. I think this is by accident. Someone must have loaded in a different SVG. Kind of funny because it sort of looks like an M, like it's not a bad logo. But got a couple of quotes coming through, so this is good. More to come. This is getting closer. We're getting some of our wording down, getting these sections filled in.
Actually, there's the data has been updated because last time I saw it wasn't. Yeah, the headings are missing, I guess. The BG ones. Few of the things. BG.
Oh, right. Yeah, in terms of content. Yeah. There's actually a lot of content. And some of that's just like, yeah, this is wrong, or like we do not have that many customers. but that's easy enough to fill in with something else. This is nice. This works. Cool. We're seeing some of those bubbles come through. Augustine. One thing that's a little off to me though is that why is this full color, and what does that full color mean to me as versus these other things that are faded? I don't know. It probably means something, but I can't tell. Because I know that this yellow over here means I should click something. So that's probably not what we want.
Also, one thing, like in the performance, or not the performance actually, the features section where we have the numbers, we can add a counter component.
Yeah, really. Yeah, totally.
In the main mesh page also where we have the features, 3 column, we can have the counter component. so that it actually becomes a bit more interactive, or like has some animation.
I've been reduced to screenshots, I guess. Yeah, I was totally thinking that. I was wondering about that. It looks really cool when they count up. It's especially when this high of a number counts up. It's great. Okay, and there's a lot of pages. When we go through, the majority of them are ready to go. Like there's a few things that so Augustine, I'll share one of your recent designs. There's a couple of things that are kind of missing. Like we'll need to come back to each of the pages. And when I say we, I mean mostly me, probably. I mean, any of you are welcome to do what I'm about to say. I just feel like it's probably more of a chore than anyone wants to, than it's fair to ask anyone to do. But it is, every page, we should be explicit about the message that we're trying to get across to the visitor, the call to action that we're giving them. Like what are we trying to tell them? And then what do we want them to do with what we've told them? And okay, we're trying to tell them a piece of news here about this thing, and it's a long form thing. It'd be nice if there was an image sort of as a requirement for each thing that we have. There's one image here. We could reuse that same one below potentially, just as a standard format template for. But the call to action, okay, it's here. It's read the full article. Okay, and that can suffice. It's not very prominent. It would be nice if maybe it was see related news. That might be a good call to action. If when we go look at, I think a lot of the other pages, like on the brand page, for example, we're giving them a bunch of resources. Nikhil, this is awesome. Okay. Give them a lot of resources. And then what's the call to action? Well, to look at the footer and go to other pages in the footer. Okay. In some respects, there's a default call to action, but we're kind of missing an opportunity, I think, on this page. Look at like programs. Hey, great. Maybe there's a call to action here missing, like contact us. Are you interested in one of these? Contact us. Or join the community in this case. That's the right one. But yeah, when you look at each one of them, so in some of them, like last night I added the call to action to subscribe at the bottom of the landscape. Okay, good. But there's it gets kind of old because I think right now we only have two primary ones: join the community, get the newsletter. And Augustine, you recently created one, and I know I haven't seen the design or anyone else. So let's take a look.
Yeah, I made the CTA for the Learn Service Mesh Lab, interactive labs.
Oh, wait, I don't know why my Figma opened up to this, but oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Oh, that's nice. All right, sorry. Just trying to mess with people. Where was it, Augustine?
Yeah, the home session, bottom part of the home session. I left a comment to it, so you can just type the comment, so it takes it there. No, not there. Yes.
Oh, cool. Look at that. So good. So this other call to action that I was asking for is one to go see the labs, because we've got a lot of labs for people to go learn. And so here's what that might look like. I think this is good. Or this is not an interactive lab. This is a book. It is about learning, and it might just be.
Yeah, we can change that. We can change that to another image. I was thinking of using an illustration, but then I remembered they all no illustration, so use an image to just to show that we're having an image over there. So we can change the image.
Nice. Yeah, the one that the illustration that might make some, work, make some sense. Might be this guy. I could do it. Could be a Meshry logo. Could be this illustration, a Meshry logo. Okay. And what else do we have? Do you have anything else to talk about today? So all of you, including me, are ready to switch over, right? Get off the old site. And there are some places that there are blockers. Anywhere where we have fake text, that would be pretty embarrassing for people to see that. It's easy enough to fill it in with something else. There's other aspects to what we're doing that just, like Josh would point out, that like on this page needed improvement. It's like, this isn't really, it just is a statement of fact. Open source internship programs. Okay, well, that's nice. Thanks for telling me about this collection of, are you doing something with them? Are we should we come participate? And so it's kind of missing, we're only halfway there. Community Bridge is now LFX. If we're like, it's probably best if we ended up categorizing these some and just saying Google Summer of Code, not the date, and not the date for any of them. And you go in and then it has the 2019, the 2020, the 2020, and the stuff that we're getting in the works for 2021. So yeah, anyway, it's looking amazing. It's looking absolutely amazing. Unbelievable. This was also recently fixed. So now there's new pages being produced for all of the events. So now that they're individual pages, we can actually link to them here. These are now fixed so that these are hard-coded links that will control. It's an interesting thing of all the pages that we have. Some of them have been, a ton of work has been put into, and they look really good. Others have only been taken so far. And some of the ones that have only been taken so far are actually prominently linked in here. Like these that are prominently linked, there's not much effort that's been put into them. It's just a set of bullet points. But you would expect that they get clicked on quite a bit. So when we come back and reassess, like here again, it's like, well, and when you come back and reassess, it, anyway, we're out of time. So a couple of items for different folks. Vineeth is also not on the call because anyone who's going to IIT Jodhpur is doing exams.
I guess that's enough of jokes for today.
All right, fair enough. Well, thanks, guys. We'll get it there. We're almost there. Shubham, thanks for delivering it in an iterative way. It really helps to just being able to merge, like push and merge, push and merge, push and merge. So.
And I'll make sure that I keep everything in proper branches next time, so that I don't have any merge conflicts.
Oh, sure. No, that's yeah. No, I think I've lost more code than I've written because I pushed it to the wrong places. Cool. Okay, well, good. Well, I'll catch everyone in Slack. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Everyone.
Bye.